We begin this midday with new information in this past weekend's deadly officer-involved shooting in Norfolk. Authorities say an officer shot and killed David Latham Friday night on West 30th Street. Latham's family says the man suffered from a mental illness. Friday night, they called 911 saying Latham was ill and needed help. But when officers arrived on the scene, they say Latham threatened them with a knife. It was one of 3 shootings involving officers within a week's time. Moments ago, police held a news conference about the incident and the other shootings. And 10 on your side's Erin Kelly was there. Erin?
Yeah, this press conference was to address those 2 most recent officer-involved shootings, the one on Wednesday, the one on Friday. I asked the chief, how many times did officers shoot David Latham? He told me he didn't have that number, but he said he believed it was more than once. The family has told us they believe it was 4 times. Now, according to the family, David Latham had a history of mental illness since he was 15, but police say when they got to the door, he threatened an officer, refused to drop his knife, and an officer shot him. But police said they had also gotten calls that he had threatened his brothers with a knife. But the family has asked, why did the police officer not use a taser? Here's what the chief had to say about that.
You can do a lot of damage with a knife. The second thing is these incidents were rapidly escalating dynamic incidents where the use of a taser would not have been appropriate. The officers ended up having to choose to use their firearm in order to save their own lives or save the lives of other citizens.
And we also asked the chief about the shooting of Officer Brian Jones, whether or not that had put officers on edge. He said he did not believe so and pointed to dozens of other calls that police have responded to since that shooting and said that those calls had been resolved without incident. I asked the chief if he believed in both of the most recent cases if deadly force was justified. He said he could not say one way or the other, that this is under investigation, but he did say he stands by his officers. This will all be under investigation and it'll go on to the Commonwealth's Attorney's Office for investigation as well. Live in Norfolk, Erin Kelly, 10 on your side.
Now, to recap the other shootings, investigators say an officer tried to serve Lawrence Fain an emergency custody order Wednesday. They say the officer shot him and Fain died at the hospital. It happened at the Calvary Towers on East Virginia Beach Boulevard. The officer wasn't hurt. The third happened Friday, May 30th. Police say James Andrew Brown was driving his Jeep down Chesapeake Boulevard. Then he started shooting. A teenager died. Police say Brown shot 2 officers and drove off. 1 officer died, the other survived. Police say he crashed his Jeep on East Little Creek Road before another officer shot and killed him during a struggle. Now you can see the entire video clip of the chief speaking about the recent shootings right now on WAVY.com.